Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Photographic Memory Podcast. I'm excited to welcome the program Dr. Shannon Panzo. Dr. Shannon, what's going on? How are you?
Well, good morning to you today, Neil. It's going very well. The sun has come up as usual, and the birds are chirping. So things are good.
Dr. Shannon is a photographic memory expert, brain management expert, and also does mentoring. So go to zuxpro.com for more information. Our topic today is really an interesting topic because it's learn your lessons well. Because the reason is because once you learn something, you shouldn't forget it, right? That's the hope, right?
Well, there's learning lessons well, which is the contemporary way of saying you want to learn things, you don't want to forget them, but really what it comes down to is learning things through experience. And learning your lessons well is experiencing life. So it's very important whenever you learn lessons, you first have to understand what a lesson is. And your lessons are based on literally on success, and they also support your success. So this is how it works out. If you have a lesson, well, let's put it this way. Let's come from a different angle. If you have a pain, typically there's a lesson associated with that pain.
Right.
And if you're always successful at something, what do you learn? You really don't. You don't learn anything from success. But whenever you fail at something, oh boy, that's when you start really learning. And that's what we're talking about here today is learning through unsuccessful means. Now, by learning your lessons through these painful methods, what happens is you become much more successful. Yeah, it's kind of a round robin, but it does work. Every great inventor has had plenty of failures along the way, so get used to it. It's part of the recipe.
Exactly.
Now, whether you're in school, whether you're in your profession, look, whenever you're in school, quite often you're given a pain-free way of going through things without actually learning. You learn, but you're not really learning your lessons because it's pretty much pain-free. But whenever you get out in the real world and you're on your own, then there's repercussions. You have to make decisions. They're your decisions. You have to own them. And because they're your decisions and you have to own them, you reap the benefits or the repercussions, whichever the case may be. If you go along and you make a lot of successful decisions, hey, great, you're in great shape. If you, along the way, if you have a few bad decisions and they're painful, well, you learn from that too. That's actually your learning. And so that you become better and better at what you do because you learn your lessons off the things that are not successful.
Yeah.
Okay. I just saw Richard Branson up there, and he's about ready to go on a space flight. Well, he's had a few failures along the way of getting this thing up and rolling, namely spacecraft that didn't quite make it. And he's had a few failures. So now that he is confident about his success, and his failures, they cost a lot of money and a lot of pain. So it's pretty important that you get it right whenever you're dealing with spacecraft. So yeah, that's a really good example for today. And he's ready to go up himself because he feels confident that he's at the right space and mind, so to speak, to know that he can do the job. So that's where he's going.
Yeah. So that's what he's learned his lessons well, or he saw other people learn their lessons well, so he doesn't make the same mistake.
That's right.
Hopefully.
Because if he fails at this time, it can definitely be in life jeopardy. So we'll just have to see how it all turns out. all the best to him. Okay. So does that, do you have any,
My questions would be, I think that we learn is the way we learn is through making mistakes and then becoming better at what we do from those mistakes. And even if we have a great memory, we're still going to have to learn and assess through our brain what's a good decision and what's a bad decision, which we talked about in a previous episode. So by making a bad decision and the result of that bad decision, hopefully you don't make that same decision again. And so when you're learning your lessons well, you say, hey, you know what? I'm not trying that again. Just not happening.
Okay. So that's a really good summary, Neil. And essentially, the way that we do it to leverage ourselves is we use our photographic memory via brain management, mental photography. We use our photographic memory to tune up our brain and become better at everything we're doing, right?
Yes.
And where do we go to find that?
Zuxpro.com.
Great. Okay. Great things happen here, Neil.
So go to Zuxpro.com, check out Dr. Shannon, and we'll see him next time on the Photographic Memory Podcast. Take care.
Thanks for having me, Neil.
You're welcome.